Reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, 11th chapter, text number 53. Nāhaṁ vedair na tapasā na dānena na cejyayā śakya evaṁ-vidho draṣṭuṁ dṛṣṭavān nasimam yathā never aham I vedair by study of the Vedas never tapasā by serious penances never dānena by charity never also ijyayā by worship śakya it is possible evaṁ-vidhaḥ like this draṣṭum to see dṛṣṭavān seeing asī you are mam me yathā as. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. Purport. Krishna first appeared before his parents Devaki and Vasudeva in a four-handed form. And then he transformed himself into the two-handed form. This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists or who are devoid of devotional service. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of grammatical knowledge or mere academic qualification, Krishna is not possible to understand, nor is he to be understood by persons who officially go to the temple to offer worship. They make their visit, but they cannot understand Krishna as he is. Krishna can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as explained by Krishna himself in the next verse. Om ajnānat timidandasya jnānanjana salakaya chakṣuran miritam yenam tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam sthapitam yena bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sabhadantigam Bandeyam Sri Guru Sri Yutabadakamaran Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Chasi Rupam Sagirajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Barizana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakandvidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinobindhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikakanta Radha Kranta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prichabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nāhaṁ vedair na tapasā na dānena na cejyayā śakya evaṁ-vidho draṣṭuṁ dṛṣṭavān asimam yathā. Krishna speaking to Arjuna. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by this means that one can see me as I am. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is coming to this material world to attract the fallen conditioned souls, so they may be able to surrender to Him, so they may understand His position, and so they may understand their spiritual identity beyond this material body. Krishna himself has explained also in the Bhagavad-Gita, in the 4th chapter, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. I come in every millennium to establish dharma, religious principles, to help and protect the devotees, and to annihilate the demons, the miscreants, atheistic persons. So for that purpose also, Krishna spoke the Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna, his devotee, ultimately for the benefit of humankind, of the embodied jiva in the human form of life especially. And so on, here in the Bhagavad-Gita, as Kauravas and Pandavas were facing each other just before fighting in order to become victorious, both parties were ready. And then Arjuna asked Krishna to bring his chariot in between so he could see who is there. And then, as we know, he was overcome with compassion, and also seeing the great warriors, seeing his Guru, Kul Guru, the spiritual master who taught him how to fight, and Bhishmadev was the grandfather of all, so to say, who was very kind towards all the inhabitants of Hastinapura. So he was not ready to fight. He was thinking, how I can fight against this, my Gurujan, my superiors. As it is mentioned in the scriptures, one should be always obeying the orders of the superiors, and not even a verbal fight should be there. If one has something, if one is somehow having some doubts, if the spiritual master or the seniors is giving some instruction, some order, then very humbly one should express one's inability to understand the instruction or the order. And then one may ask for clarification in a humble way, but not in a challenging way. So in consciousness we should be always respectful towards the superior, also with the words, giving respect. So what to speak of physically? How to fight against the superior? That is highly improper. But due to the circumstances, due to the will of providence, due to also Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's desire, so he had to fight. Dharma against adharma. Although the Gurujan, the superiors, were actually also righteous people, righteous persons, but because they were obliged to be on the side of Duryodhana, because they were maintained, so they had some obligation. So therefore, they were fighting against the Pandavas also, although they knew it is not right. But they felt obliged, and they considered that is the fate of destiny. So at that point, so Krishna of course instructed him and first of all explaining about that we are not this body. That is the most important instruction to be received from the spiritual master. And Krishna is Adiguru, is the original spiritual master. So he explained to him that you are not this body, you are spirit soul, and you should not lament for anybody who is going to die. And then so many instructions were given to Arjuna as he surrendered to Krishna. And then at one point, then Krishna, so he desired, he had heard about the universal form of the Lord. So he was eager to see that. And of course, also the transcendental arrangement is there of the Lord. And then so he showed his universal form, and Arjuna was struck with wonder and awe and reverence. Although he knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, but at the same time he had a friendly relationship with Krishna. So therefore, the friendship is actually more important in relationship with Krishna for the devotees of Krishna in Dwarka, in Mathura. What to speak of Braj? In Braj they don't even know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and that is the highest relationship, that is most confidential, most relishable to Krishna and to the devotees. But also in Dwarka and Mathura, the inhabitants of these places worshipping Krishna, having a relationship with Krishna, very friendly relationship. They were best of friends. Of course also Sambandha was there, family relationship was there. So, but that is more prominent than respecting him as the Supreme Lord. But he knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So just to be convinced, and of course also others also had to be convinced. Ultimately, because the Bhagavad-Gita is spoken for the conditioned souls, and Arjuna is the instrument in that. So by the will of the Lord, so it was shown to Arjuna for his benefit and for the benefit of the conditioned souls. And when he saw, he was he was struck with wonder, and eventually he was longing again to see the form of Krishna, the original form of Krishna, ultimately the two-handed form of Krishna, which is in natural form and most beautiful. So therefore Krishna also withdrew the universal form, and He was there in his four-armed form, just to again show everyone that he is actually the Supreme Lord. Because the pious, religious persons, God-fearing persons, following Vedic knowledge, Vedic culture, they understand, they know that the absolute truth is Vishnu or Krishna, the four-armed form of the Lord, extraordinary form, transcendental form, holding the conch, lotus flower, and the club, and the chakra, transcendental wheel, Sudarshan chakra. So just to make sure everyone is understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the original Supreme Lord. So this form, manifested form, four-handed form was manifested. And at the end, the two-handed form, two-armed form of Krishna was there. Even in the spiritual world, in Dwarka or Mathura, Krishna mostly has his two-armed form is there, two-handed form. Only sometimes is showing two extra arms, showing his opulence. And then everyone, oh yes, Krishna, our relative, our husband, our friend, is the Supreme Lord. So they are reminded of that. But they prefer to see the two-armed form of Krishna because that form is more beautiful than the four-armed form, although ultimately there is no difference between the four-armed form and the two-armed form. But when the order reverence is covered by the sweetness of the relationship, so Krishna is relishing that more, and also the devotees are relishing that more. So here in this verse, Krishna is saying to Arjuna that this my form can only be seen with transcendental eyes. So that is important to understand the original form of Krishna. To fully understand Krishna, one must have transcendental vision. The consciousness should be pure, otherwise one cannot see Krishna. And here is explaining that nāhaṁ vedair. So there are many persons who are studying the Vedas, Brahmanas, and so those are actually studying the Vedas. Veda means knowledge also. Brahmana is one, Brahmana, Brahma iti janati Brahmanaha, one who is understanding Brahma, the supreme absolute truth, is considered to be a Brahmana. Of course, two aspects are there of the absolute truth, the personal and the impersonal aspect. But the highest understanding is the personal aspect. So the follower of the Vedic literatures, many of them, they have impersonal conception of the absolute truth. But even the others who may understand the personal form of the Lord, but if they are not engaged in devotional service, then they will not be able to fully understand Krishna. As Krishna is explaining in the next verse, as Prabhupada is hinting at. Bhaktyat vananyaya śakya aham evaṁ-vidho arjuna gyatum draṣṭum ca tattvena praveshtum ca parantapa. Only by bhakti, ananyaya, by ananya bhakti, undivided devotional service, by pure devotional service, can one understand Krishna, can one see Krishna. So it is very mysterious, tattva. And that can only be understood by devotional service, but ultimately by pure devotional service, free from any tinge of trying to understand the true absolute truth by gyan, by knowledge, or by being engaged in in karma, yoga, in working, of course connected to the Lord or giving the fruits also to the Lord to some extent, but that is not sufficient. But the devotional attitude should be there. Bhakti has to be there. So not by studying the Vedas, not by doing tapasā, austerities. Although knowledge, jnana, by studying and tapasā, performing austerities, vairagya, being detached from this material world, are also important. But if there's no engagement in devotional service, then ultimately the result will not be obtained of understanding the absolute truth. So one has to study the scriptures, one has to hear from the spiritual master, one has to try to become detached from this material world, and one has to try to become attached to Krishna by engaging in devotional service, by having a relationship with Krishna. Then the attachment towards Krishna will grow. If one is engaging in a devotional service, because the reciprocation is there from Krishna, and that will give so much transcendental bliss, and one becomes more attached, and there's more this reciprocation, then more attachment is there, and then one can easily give up attachment to this material world. Whereas simply by studying it will not be attained, simply by doing some tapasya it will not be obtained. One has to engage in devotional service. Dānena, by giving charity. So many persons are interested in giving charity. Oh yes, we should give charity to the brahmanas, to the devotees, to the Lord, and one should help the poor people, opening hospital, giving food to the poor people. So, but that is not sufficient. All these things are wonderful, and they should be also performed, but one should not miss the point of understanding that one has to be engaged in devotional service under the direction of the spiritual master, the pure devotee. And even here it is mentioned, na cejyayā, cha ijyayā. Ijyayā, so ijyayā, that means the worship of the Lord in the temple. That is known as ijyayā. And that is actually very, very beneficial, because in the beginning of devotional service, of devotional life, one cannot see Krishna. And as explained here, only with transcendental eyes one can see the Lord. Otherwise it is not possible. So in the beginning stage, the embodied being saw as material consciousness, and the eyes are also materially contaminated, and the ears also, and so therefore one cannot properly see the Supreme Lord. One cannot hear Krishna speaking or Krishna playing the flute. One cannot embrace Krishna in a conditioned state. So therefore deity worship is established by the acharya, by the spiritual master. And that the form of the Lord in the temple, the Archa Vigraha, is not different from the form of the Supreme Lord in the heart and in the spiritual world. Of course, even in the holy names. So, but although chanting the holy names, that is the most important limb of devotional service, but again in the beginning, simply by chanting, when the consciousness is not pure, one cannot see Krishna. Therefore one has to see the deities in the temple, one has to worship the deities in the temple, one has to hear about Krishna's wonderful form, qualities and pastimes. And then by doing that constantly, day by day, then ultimately we will be able, in purified consciousness, with transcendental eyes, we'll be able to see Krishna. So ijyayā is very important, deity worship. At the same time, simply by deity worship, that is also not sufficient. And there's another name of deity worship, different names of deity worship. So ijyayā is one, and then archanam, murti seva, yacha vigraha seva, paricārya, charya, aradhanam. Also puja, or there's one term that is known as pancha anga puja. 5 limbs of the worship of the Lord. Not that you just go on the altar and you wave the incense, that is deity worship. No. There's a process. Abhigaman. First we have to try to be properly situated so that now we can go and approach the deities in the temple. So right in the morning after getting up, we have to offer obeisances to the spiritual master, to Krishna. Then one has to take a bath or brush the teeth, go to the bathroom. But all the while we should try to fix the mind on Krishna. Or chant his holy name. So while taking bath, chanting Om Apavitra Pavitra Va Sarvavastam Garopi Va Yasmarit Pundarikaksam Sabhabyantara Suchihi. By remembering Krishna who has beautiful eyes, Pundarikaksha, Pundarik, just like a lotus flower petal. The petal of the lotus flower, elongated like this, Krishna's eyes, very beautiful. By remembering him, one becomes purified internally and externally. So taking bath externally, that is required, but more important is even to remember Krishna. Then one becomes pure inside and outside. Simply taking a bath is not sufficient to be pure. So even the elephant is taking bath, going to river, taking the water, putting on himself. But he's not remembering the Lord. So, but one has to remember the Lord. And then one goes to the temple wearing clean cloth. One is gathering the articles, upadan, for the worship. Then comes yoga. One has to be prepared to worship the Lord. One cannot just go on the altar. One has to do achman for purification. And then chant some mantras so one will understand, I am not this body, I am spirit soul. And then the worship is there. So yoga, one has to connect, be transcendentally situated. Then one can worship Krishna, otherwise not. And then the ijyayā is there in Panchanga Puja, and then svadhyaya, studying of the scriptures, hearing from the spiritual master. If we don't hear from the spiritual master about Krishna, about the process of devotional service, about Krishna's beautiful form, qualities and pastimes, then we cannot properly engage in the deity worship. It will not be complete. Then we cannot chant properly. So one has to chant properly also and study the scriptures, be in the association of the pure devotee, and then the deity worship will be effective. And when the deity worship is effective, then the chanting will be effective. When the chanting is nice, we can properly worship the deities better. And then we can come to a higher platform. So the different processes are there. But just simply these processes are not enough to say Krishna. But bhakti has to be there. Therefore, even it is mentioned in the scriptures, we may offer so many upachars. Upachar means the articles. There are 64 upachars in the worship of the Lord. But if you are offering them, but if you have no bhakti, then there is no use. Even here, before also, they were fighting, before they assembled also. At one point, so there was some discussion, and Duryodhana also wanted the favor of Krishna. But he was thinking, Krishna is a big army, I should get his army on my side. And Arjuna was thinking, well, I need Krishna on my side. And he didn't care for the army, because he knew Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is more powerful than the whole army. But Duryodhana, he was, foolish person ultimately. Of course, materially speaking, he was quite powerful, and he had material intelligence, but that is not sufficient. One needs transcendental intelligence to, of course, that comes by surrendering to the Lord in order to advance in spiritual life, in order to be properly situated. So in one point, so when Krishna was taking rest, both of them approached. Duryodhana and Arjuna approached Krishna. So they came together. Duryodhana thought, well, I sit right next to Krishna, and then he will see me, then he will first so ask me what I want. But Arjuna was thinking, let me take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. He sat at the lotus feet. So Krishna, when he came up, he saw Arjuna was there. He might have, surely he saw also Duryodhana, but because Krishna, he knows Arjuna is my devotee and he's taking shelter of my lotus feet. So he's seeing Arjuna, and then he saw Duryodhana also smiling, and he's smiling Krishna and saying, yes, I know why both of you have come here. And but first I saw Arjuna. So Arjuna, I see you first. So what do you want? Please let me know. So he knew that both of them, they wanted, of course, some favor from Krishna. And Krishna also knew what Arjuna wanted, of course. But so it is just described. So, so it is told to let people understand what you should actually desire, to be at the lotus feet of the Lord. So Arjuna said, yeah, my dear Krishna, I'm begging you, please, you be on my side and you help me in this battle. And Duryodhana, of course, first he was worried. Oh, now Arjuna can ask first, so he will ask for all the soldiers. And so when Arjuna said, I want you, Krishna, then Duryodhana was happy. Oh, great, I'm such a fool, Arjuna. And then, okay. So Krishna, yes, I will be with you, Arjuna. And yes, Duryodhana, what do you want? I want your army. And Krishna says, yes, sure, you can have my army. Oh, so many Okshahinis, how many? Who remembers Okshahinis? 2 or hundreds and thousands of soldiers. And then Duryodhana thought, yeah, well, now we'll win, we are more people. So he was happy, but there was of no use. But even before that, at one point, again he wanted the favor of Krishna, Duryodhana. So therefore, so he was actually, Krishna was, he wanted to see his devotee Vidur. And so Duryodhana came to know, but then he wanted to get the attraction of Krishna. He wanted the attention of Krishna, and he wanted Krishna to come into his place, to his palace. So he had everything ready, Chapanbhog, 56 items to offer to Krishna to eat, and then he was ready to offer some worship to Krishna. Worship, we are talking about worship here. He was ready to worship Krishna. So Krishna was passing by and Duryodhana called him, please come here. And Krishna said, no, why should I come to you? No, I have Chapanbhog here and I will respect you also nicely. No, it's all right. But I'm going to my devotee Vidur. He has something which you don't have. You have a lot of opulence, but bhakti is not there. So he didn't have bhakti for Krishna, and he disrespected the devotees of Krishna. One who is disrespecting the devotees of Krishna, he cannot have bhakti for Krishna, not possible. So therefore he went to Vidur's place. And Vidur, so of course, brother also of Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra was the eldest, and then Pandu was there, and Vidur, and he was like, Vidur was not really agreeing with Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. So he was living a little bit separate in a more simple place, rather than in the palace with his politicians and with his persons who are against the Pandavas. So then Krishna went there and went to the house of Vidur, and so his wife Vidurani also. So that made a little offering. Some say that they only had some bananas, but some say she was making some porridge also. So then she was bringing that, and she was so happy Krishna is there. And also Vidur was so happy, and they welcomed him, and with tears in the eyes, of Krishna, Supreme Lord is coming to our house. And that's why bananas were there. And so she was peeling the bananas. Instead of giving the banana, she was giving the banana peel. And Krishna accepted that and ate that. Why? Because bhav. She had bhav. Bhava grahi janadan. She has bhakti. Bhakti bhavena. She had love for Krishna. So whereas Duryodhana, he had so many things, upachars, so many things to offer to Krishna, but there was no bhakti, no bhav. Whereas Vidur and Vidurani, they're only just a little porridge and some bananas, but they had bhav and bhakti. So he accepted the bhakti and the bhav of Vidur and his wife. And so he was very happy to be there, and they were swimming in the ocean of bliss. So we worship the deities, some bhakti should be there, some bhav should be there. So actually bhakti and bhav is already there in the heart, but it is covered by the material consciousness. So we have to cleanse the consciousness. Chetudarpanamajanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam śakyaḥ chandrika vittaranam vidavadi jivanam anandam buddhivadanam prajapadam punnam ritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam padam vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. By chanting the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by chanting the holy names, and then by listening about Krishna, by worshipping then the deities with a proper consciousness, with some devotional feelings, then it will be accepted. So whatever is done, it should be done with bhakti, with bhav, with priti purvak, priti with some devotional sentiment, some affection. Then Krishna will accept it. And when Krishna is accepting it, then you can see Krishna as he is. So that is what Krishna is telling here, Arjuna, for the benefit of the fallen conditioned souls. So therefore we have to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna, who knows exactly what Krishna likes. And he will tell the disciples how to serve Krishna. And therefore then in the deity worship also, what is offered to the deities, that is what Krishna likes also. Throughout the day, different items are offered. And especially one will, of course, Krishna, again, he likes whatever the devotees are offering, but at the same time, some things he likes more than other things, just like in fruits. Which is Krishna's favorite fruit? Who knows? Chiku. Yes, chiku. So if you see chiku, you buy chiku, you offer to Krishna. Krishna will be so happy. And Radharani's favorite fruit? Plum. Yes. Mahaprabhu's favorite fruit? Jackfruit? No. I mean, he likes it also. No, he likes mango also. Everyone likes mango. Huh? Kola vecha? Bananas. Yeah, kola, he likes bananas. Krishna's favorite, Mahaprabhu's favorite fruit. So when we worship the deity, so we should offer also what Krishna likes, Mahaprabhu likes, Radharani likes. What about Balaram? What he likes? Which fruit? Yeah, which fruit Balaram likes? Huh? Laglu? Fruit. Which fruit he likes, Balaram? Jamun. Jamun fruit. Yeah. Now we can get jamun. I just went to our Bhaktivedanta eco farm in Ajay, and there are many jamun trees, so we got some jamun. Even here I got 2 days before in front of the temple jamun offered to the deities. Then taking prasad, remembering Balaram likes the fruit. It's okay, jamun is okay, yeah. I like more chiku and bananas and plum. Huh? Kya? And Nityananda jamun also. Yeah. Yeah, so. Yeah, I like chiku and bananas and plums. Jamun is okay, yeah. Anyhow, whatever, so. And of course then the vegetables we know, Mahaprabhu likes shak, of course jackfruit also. Mahaprabhu likes many vegetables also. Shukta. And of course Mahaprabhu likes rice, chawal, and so whatever the Lord likes we should offer, and with love, and then we take the remnants. So the spiritual master, and in the scriptures it is mentioned also, like Bhakti-vidho Thakur in a songbook. So he has written a song that so what is offered? Yeah, Bhajaba Katavatsala Gaura Hari. So in this song there, so beautiful instruction is there. So of course first taking or sheltering of Mahaprabhu. You can see the acharyas in our line, even they're giving some, like in the different books. So they will first take the Mangalacharana verse is always mostly to Mahaprabhu. We take shelter of Mahaprabhu and then we discuss about Krishna also. And there it is explained what is offered to Krishna. And so that means, so whatever is written, Bhakti-Vinod Thakur is all items which Radharani or Rohini is cooking and which Krishna likes. Of course, again there, even what Rohini is cooking, Maria Yashoda, she's sometimes going in the kitchen also, but just in breakfast time she's busy and arranging other things, and Nanda Baba's husband's brother sometimes is coming, elder brother or younger brother, so she has to welcome them, and so much to do, big palace there in Nandagaon. And so she tells Rohini, please you go in the kitchen and cook something for Nanda Baba and whoever is here, who the guests, and for Krishna and Balaram. And then Radharani, she's called every day from Varshana to cook, because she got blessing from, of course in the past time, from Durvasa Muni. So that is in this world, but of course we know she's always most expert in the spiritual world cooking. So the pastimes in the spiritual world and here, they're simultaneously non-different, and there's some difference, because here they appear and they grow, like this appearance of Krishna and Radharani, whereas in the spiritual world, they are eternally there, but then they are manifesting here also, in order to attract the conditioned souls. Oh, such wonderful pastimes. Let me enter into these pastimes also. Like when the great personalities give up the body, we say, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad. Entering the Nitya Lila. Of course, for the Parikar, the associates of the Lord, like Prabhupada, they're coming, and they're actually in the spiritual world, at the same time they come here also. And it doesn't mean they are here and they are not there. They are there and they are here, just like Krishna is in the spiritual world and is coming here also. But the sadhakas, who are not there yet in the spiritual world, the Bada Jivas, so when they become perfect, then they can enter the Nitya Lila. So that is our goal actually. So then, yes, so So Radharani, so she's cooking, wonderful.
Which time?
Huh? Morning time.
9 o'clock?
No, morning time is around 8 o'clock, just like we have a breakfast in the temple. That is known as Prata Lila, from 6 o'clock till 8:24. I mean, a little after 7 o'clock, maybe she comes and she starts cooking. And then breakfast is maybe 8:30, like that, 9 o'clock. And that actually is Bhajabhakata Vatsala Gaurahari. So this is actually what they're offering in the morning. But mostly the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they chant at noon time, because morning they take a light breakfast and the main meal is at lunch, usually amongst the sadhus. So usually they will chant this song at noon time. But in the Leela actually it is in the morning time. Because noon time, Krishna is gone for Gocharan Leela, only as a little lunch bag. Maria Yashoda, she has prepared something to take with him in case he gets hungry, playing with his friends and taking care of the cows and the calves. So he will get hungry. Like even nowadays, the children have a little breakfast and then they go to school. Mother is making lunch bag and okay, now go to school. So Krishna, it's a nice breakfast, and then after is the friends are calling already. Please come. And then Krishna, so because they are calling the friends, oh yeah, and he likes to play also. So he's ready to go. He hasn't eaten so much, and Maria Yashoda is saying, no, stay here. You have to eat more. You have to eat more. You hardly ate. Krishna, oh, I'm so full. I ate so much. Oh, I have to go now. I cannot eat more. Maria Yashoda is saying, no, I know you only ate a little bit. You have to eat more. So in this way, some transcendental loving exchange is there, but the friends are calling, and then ultimately Krishna is going. Gocharan Leela. So of course Radharani, she's cooking so many wonderful preparation for Krishna's pleasure, and he's relishing these the most. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so pure devotee of the Lord, he knows all these things, and then so he's writing for our benefit.
12 times vada.
Huh?
12 times vada.
12 times of vada. Yeah. You Gujarati, you're making vada, right? Yeah. Yeah, so Krishna, he likes, many preparations are there. So many in the morning time for breakfast. So he has a good breakfast. So by hearing from the spiritual master, from the previous acharyas, so then accordingly we serve, and then there's a transcendental loving exchange with Krishna. And then ultimately, in this way we will be blessed with transcendental vision, with transcendental eyes. So by the mercy of course, the spiritual master and then Mahaprabhu and Krishna, so the devotees can get this transcendental vision, and then they can see Krishna as he is, in his transcendental form. And that is the goal of life. So to see Krishna as he is. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
What was the blessing of Narada Muni to Radharani?
Narada Muni to Radharani?
About meals?
The meals, no, that is Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni blessed her. Yes. Durvasa Muni blessed her that whoever will eat what Radharani is cooking will be always, that will be like nectar. Whatever she's cooking will be like nectar. Nectar means it is very delicious. Amrit. Amrit means nectar, and that which helps one to become immortal, Amar. Amrit, one who is not taking birth, becomes eternal. So one, in other words also, one will be able to be healthy. Whatever Krishna, Radharani cooks will be like nectar, and whoever eats that will be very healthy and live a long life. He will live a long life. So Yashoda heard, oh yes, she got that blessing from Durvasa Muni. So let Radharani come here and cook for Krishna. so that he will be healthy and live a long life. The Supreme Lord who is eternal. So in the Leela, so very wonderful. So when she heard that, so she went to Javat, and she asked the mother-in-law of Radharani, Jatila, so the so-called marriage with Abhimanyu, also known as Ain Ghosh, to Radharani, but there is no contact there. This Abhimanyu is actually the shadow of Krishna. So then Jatila said, no, how I can send my daughter-in-law to somebody else's house? No, not possible. Although she is the queen of Braj, Maria Yashoda. And she was a little unhappy, and she told Purnamasi, who is very much respected. Purnamasi is the mother of Sandipani Muni, the grandmother of Madhumangal, and what's her name? Nandimukhi. So Madhumangal is a very good friend of Krishna, and later Krishna went to Ujjain, Avantipur, and he learned from some things in the past time from Sandipani Muni, the spiritual master. So she was very much respected. So she had come to Braj with Sandipani Muni, with her grandchildren, Nandimukhi and Madhumangal. And so everyone respected her. Of course, the cool guru was there too. Bhaguri Muni and Sandilya Muni. There were two cool gurus there in Braj. Everyone respected them. But she was also very much respected because Sandipani Muni was also well known Acharya. And then so she came, and the ladies, you go to the ladies, and the man to the man for instructions. That is natural, usually. So especially in Vedic culture. So then she explained the situation, and Purnamasi said, don't worry, I'll make sure that Radharani will come and cook for Krishna and Nanda Baba, for your husband. And she went there and she told Jatila, and because Jatila also knew that Purnamasi is a Brahmani, and she's a very learned person, so, and usually the Brahmanas, they also know some astrology. So then Purnamasi said, I can see some things here. And I've heard that Maria Yashoda wanted Radharani to cook for Krishna. And Jatila said, yes. And I can see some bad omens there. And if you're not sending Radharani to cook for Krishna, I can foresee there will be some big epidemic there, and all your cows will die. Your son, Abhimanyu, will die also. So you better send her. And then when you send her to cook, then everything will be fine. So then immediately she came to Radharani and the gopis and said, yeah, you can go from tomorrow and you can cook for Nanda Baba. So like this. So Durvasa Muni, so he gave that boon. And why he gave the boon? Because one time he was there in opposite in Mathura. There's Durvasa Muni ashram is there, across the river. So at that time, so they were in Nandagaon already back. Krishna appeared in Gokul and Radharani in Raval. For 3 months and 4 years they stayed there. Then they went to Chatikara, Krishna and Nanda Baba. And wherever Krishna is and Nanda Baba, then Varshana and Radharani will be there. First in Raval, not so far from Gokul. Chatikara, and there's a village called Vasanti, and not so far from Chatikara. So they were staying there for 3 years and 4 months. And then they returned back to Nandagaon and Varshana. And then, so at that point, at one point, so they were there in Chatikara and Vasanti, and so they had heard that Durvasa Muni is there, and they wanted to offer something to him, because a great sage, and they want to get the blessings. And so they had some preparations, but the Jamuna was there, and so there was it had been raining. Also, there was a lot of water. So how to cross? So then they were offering prayers, and even Krishna. Krishna was telling them, okay, because Krishna was there also, I will help you to cross. So you can serve Durvasa Muni. So then he said, you go to the Jamuna river and you tell to Jamuna that please be merciful. And Krishna told us that, and they were thinking, this is very strange, because they know Krishna, and Krishna is very happy with the gopis. So is Lampat, a kind of debauchee, going with the girls. Of course, he desires his eternal associates, but in the past time, the Krishna is very tricky and always ready to make some wonderful pastime, Adbhut Krishna. So then he's telling the gopis, you say this mantra to Yamuna and tell her that if Krishna is a brahmachari, then let me cross the river. So Krishna, how he is a brahmachari? He's not a brahmachari. But at the same time, he's the Supreme Lord. He's Atmaram, Aptakam. He's fully satisfied, self-satisfied and self-controlled. That is a brahmachari. But then he's performing his pastimes with the gopis. That is a different story. And so then Yamuna Devi, when they said that, she said, okay, yes, you can go. And she made so that the waves and the river was going down and they could cross. Although Krishna, the pastime, is there with the gopis, Lampat also debauchee, but at the same time he is the Supreme Lord. And he's fully self-controlled. Like the brahmacharis, they are self-controlled. And they were really surprised. But then they went there and then they were serving Durvasa Muni, so many preparations. And then he was fully satisfied. But then again, Jamuna was there, and a lot of water. And then how to go back? And so Durvasa Muni had eaten everything. And so they asked Durvasa Muni that we have to cross the river, but so much water there. And he said, how you came? And then they told him, and he said, oh, yes, okay, right, good. The Krishna is brahmachari, yes, right. Durvasa Muni also known. Of course, he's a very special personality, becoming very quickly angry and also easily satisfied, because in the expanded form of Lord Shiva, yathā Vaishnava Shiva, the greatest Vaishnav. So then he was saying, you go to Yamuna Devi and you tell her that so if Durvasa Muni has not eaten anything today, then let us cross the river. And they were also puzzled. Well, Krishna is a brahmachari and we should say the mantra and we can cross. And they could cross. And Durvasa Muni is saying he just ate a big feast, whatever we offered. And now he's telling us we should tell Yamuna, if Durvasa Muni didn't eat anything, then let us cross. So then they went there and Yamuna Devi, she let them cross. And they were really puzzled. What is going on here? And then they asked Krishna, how come it is like this? Durvasa Muni has not eaten anything. So Durvasa Muni also has explained to them, of course to some extent, so they could understand that Krishna is a very special personality and is very self-controlled, and then they had faith in his words. That yes, although he's playing very nicely with the gopis, but he's self-controlled. And so they believed him also. Then Krishna also told about Durvasa Muni. He's a Brahmana. He's a great personality. And actually, it is mentioned that the Brahmanas, Samukamasid Bahura Janyakritaha, it is mentioned in the scriptures. The Brahmanas, they are the mouth of the Supreme Lord. And if you're feeding the Brahmanas, that is like feeding the Supreme Lord. And it is why the Brahmanas, because also they're also self-controlled. And they're not eating for sense gratification. They're eating just to honor prasad and to maintain the body and soul together, and also to actually give blessings to those who are inviting them. But they don't need to eat much, and they're controlled. They're self-satisfied also. So the Brahmana is eating and not eating. That was correct also. But so in this way, so they understood, yes, it is right. So when actually they had given all the offering and he had eaten everything, then at this time he gave the blessing. That whatever you cook, Radharani, that will be like nectar. And whoever eats that will always be very healthy and live a long life. That's how it is. Okay? Hare Krishna, we will stop here. Mahaprasadam next time. Hare Krishna. Okay, yeah. Well, Krishna Katha is nectar also, right? And that is the real nectar. And how much prasad we can eat? Only a little bit, but this Krishna Katha we can hear unlimitedly. So I was just, somehow busy and I forgot to bring the Mahaprasad. Next time we'll give some Mahaprasad. Hare Krishna.